Welcome back to the Papa Meat channel. How you doing? How you doing? Come on in and sit on down. It's about midnight. I just got back from seeing a little picture in a very far away theater, 45 minutes away from where I live. There was only one showing near where I lived, and it was of the coveted movie Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
Oh, bother.
I found out about this movie because people kept tagging me on Twitter. They kept saying, "Oh my God, this movie concept's like a Meat Canyon video." And let me tell you something. If anybody sees this film and they think that it's like a Meat Canyon video, I'm going to retire and then I'm going to throw myself out of a very, very tall window because that would be the greatest insult I've ever received. Now, in 2021, Winnie the Pooh became public domain, which public domain laws, if you don't know, it pretty much works like as soon as a person dies who is the creator of something, who owns the IP of something, you have to wait 70 years after that, and pretty much you just get to do whatever the fuck you want with their idea. So pretty much they grabbed those rights and they said, ooh, it's time to make some money, baby. And they did. This movie currently, you know, it was made for less than $100,000 and it's made so far like 2.5 million. Okay, it's a good payday. Maybe I do need to take some notes here and start, you know, making some fucking terrible schlock. And if you think that I already do, then you know what? I don't know, go easy, man. I'm trying my best. So the director, Rise Frake Waterfield. We were not going to use a real image. We're going to use a stock photo of horribly old British men because that's all that can be used for that. Rise Frake Waterfield was a corporate strategist for like an energy company in the UK, and him and his buddy, his co-partner here, financed about half of the film, and they were just like, all right, it's going to be fucking gangbusters, mate. It's going to kill. People are going to want to put it on their telly. And they have. I mean, the guy absolutely cleaned up shop. He's already gotten the go-ahead for the sequel, and it's gonna be like double the budget. The guy is a mastermind. So you know what, Rye? Fuck you, dude. Like I said, luckily, you know, this film, people have been talking about it on Twitter. People have been memeing on it on Rotten Tomatoes. It has like a 6%, but then there's also people giving it 5-star reviews with like paragraphs of text praising it. So luckily enough, like I said, there was a movie theater close enough to me that I was able to drive and check out this movie. And just, my God. I mean, I hate overhyping stuff, but this is one of the worst horror films I've personally ever seen. It's not fun bad, and it's also just like not good. It doesn't have like a lot of redeeming qualities. It's just absolutely terrible. And if you had to stop the movie here, my suggestion, don't see it. You know? Roll the credits. You know what I would do if I had to do a public domain one? Is I would do Dragon Tales. Also, I mean, I hate that I'm even gonna put it this because who gives a shit, but spoilers. If you don't want to know what happens in this Winnie the Pooh movie, then click off the video now. Spoiler alert. And today's sponsor is Bad Dragon. Bad Dragon gives you all the kind of things you need. Little kinks, little fetishes, little pleasures that you have in life. I mean, listen. Boop, boop. They're comfortable, they're flexible, and they fit in all the right holes. You have to be 18 or older to go there, all right? If you're not 18 or older, don't even look at this ad. Skip it. Skip the ad if you're not. I'm not dealing with that bullshit, but if you're of age, let me tell you something. This company knows how to tickle you in all the right ways. It's one of the best little fantasy fetish shops I've ever seen in my life. And let me tell you, there's some good fucking people. They've been an awesome collaborator with this channel, and I love them to death. I love this company. I went and toured the facility, and let me tell you, it's just amazing. It's an amazing product. So if you're in the line for something of this nature, please check out Bad Dragon because they are the top of the top. You're not going to top them. You just simply won't. I'm telling you. I mean, there's been times where almost done a little pop and squat myself. So please check out baddragon.com. They are amazing. Thank you again for sponsoring the video, and we will be seeing them again a lot in the future. I love you, Bad Dragon. Back to the video. You know, I went into this movie, I didn't expect the movie to be good. I didn't even expect the story to be great, but it's abysmal. Just to give a little bit of a preface before we go in. So the movie starts off with a little animated segment that talks about how, Christopher Robin would feed these animals every day, these animal hybrid people that, you know, Winnie the Pooh and his gang. Not Tigger, because he's not public domain yet. We have to wait, I think, like 2 or 3 years for that, but he's coming, don't you worry. Basically, it starts off and Christopher Robin, he's feeding them. But guess what? Christopher Robin, he turns turns 18. He says, fuck these stupid animals. I'm going to college. And he leaves them alone. And these animals, they can't fend for themselves, and they can't eat anything, and they can't, get some fucking berries or eat some grass or something like that. So they eat Eeyore, and, they make a vow to return to their animalistic pride and that they hate humans because they had to eat Eeyore. But they especially hate Christopher Robin. And that's the means for the movie, is that because they ate Eeyore, they now hate Christopher Robin because a infant child couldn't go to the forest every day and feed these animals. So, makes sense, dude. Nice and logical. But essentially, the movie starts off and Christopher Robin's coming back with his fiance, and he's like, I've never shown anybody this place before. Come on, Mary, you're my fiance. I need you to meet my friends, my talking animal friends. And she's like, it's okay to have imaginary friends, Christopher. I really don't believe that there's anything here. But she's like, I'm here for you, to support you. But it's like, could you not just put your foot down and be like, dude, no. I'm not going to go out to the forest behind your mom's house and try to meet your imaginary friends, dude. You're a fucking nut. Essentially, she gets strangled by a chain. Pooh is not happy that they're there. And then Pooh and Piglet, who are our only antagonists in the films. We don't see the other people because they're sleeping. That's sequel bait, baby. They basically smother Christopher Robin, and we cut to a completely new protagonist, some random girl in a therapy session where she's talking about how her life hasn't been the same because there was a home intruder in her home. Her therapist advises that she goes out to someplace peaceful and tries to escape her thoughts. Her therapist is like,
just go somewhere. Just go somewhere calm and peaceful.
But in the title sequence of the movie, they show like plethora of newspapers that are like the 100 Acre Wood is haunted. More deaths in the 100 Acre Wood. So it's like you're bound to think that even if she got like an Airbnb or something, what is she not gonna read? Like, hey, by the way, the Airbnb by the 100 Acre Woods, like 70 people have died out there. No big deal. I just thought it was kind of weird. We're not really given any more backstory besides her and her friends show up to this house in the middle of nowhere, and it's like a lot of cliche stuff. There's more characters here than a fucking Guy Ritchie movie. I mean, I feel like I'm watching Snatch. Remember that Guy Ritchie movie from the 90s with Jason Statham and Brad Pitt? But essentially, the movie's so all over the place that it just doesn't know what audience it's trying to capture, is immediately what I think. Because the movie is trying to be a slasher, but it fails so epically. There's one cardinal rule with slashers, and it's you gotta get the deaths right. Last year, Terrifier 2 came out. Let me tell you something. Terrifier 2, I would recommend it to everybody. It's very fun to watch. Would I recommend it because the acting's good?
Your brother brought a dead animal to school this morning. What?
No. Would I recommend it because the story's strong? No. But it's like 2 hours and 10 minutes of just nonsensical, awesome practical effect kills that are just like, that within itself is worth an admission. Like, I will sit down and be like, yeah, I mean, like, who gives a shit about the story? The kills are fun. It's just like absurd. It's like in another atmosphere. It knows that it needs to take you to places that are completely fucking insane. Winnie the Pooh, all the deaths could not be more lame. They're so boring that I'm going to try to list off all the kills. I think there's about 10 kills in the movie. The first one is Christopher Robin's wife gets strangled by a chain. I think she gets strangled in 4 seconds. But the second death of the movie is Winnie the Pooh finds one of the girls. He rips her shirt off to show her ham hocks flopping around. And then I was like, oh, I didn't know this movie was going to go this direction. I didn't know it was going to be a sleazebag film. But it's the only pair of boobs in the film that you see. So it's kind of like, why did you have him rip off her shirt and then throw her in a woodchuck? You know how distracting it is to only see one pair of boobs in a slasher film? It's just kind of like, why'd you do that? At least put another. No, I mean, if you show boobs in a slasher film, you gotta at least have like three pairs of boobs. So then the third death, they set it up to be like, oh yeah, see, now this is just gonna be schlocky boob fest. That's what people are gonna like. And then all these like old horror lovers who are just like, oh, I love it, Friday the 13th and Halloween. They're all gonna be clapping their hands and you're gonna see Winnie the Pooh fan art. But sadly, they missed the mark on that big market. So she's like in a hot tub. They chloroform her. They chloroform her, they put her in the driveway, and they slowly run over her head. It's like, why are they torturing people? Like, it comes off weird to me. The way that they do the effect is just so bad. It's like a CGI render of her head, or they like kind of distort it, and they kind of just like squash it down. But she's still screaming, but her head's just kind of Catching like that. Fourth death was, I think, the girl in the pool who gets hit in the face with a sledgehammer, and it's, God, Piglet moves. He does like a crab shuffle the whole time. So then he's trying to whip her in the pool with his chain, and it's just really pathetic. Like the director's like, try whipping her in the water, and he's like... So he just says fuck it and then grabs a sledgehammer, slowly walks to the pool, and he's like swinging it around and bashes this girl in the face. By this time you find out that Christopher Robin's still alive and they've just been torturing him, but the girls like unlock him and try to like have him leave, but he's just like, just go, leave me. And he's like coughing up blood and hacking. They're like, I think we should actually help you. He's like, no, just go. Also, by the way, that girl you heard screaming earlier, yeah, they brought her in earlier today. So this woman's been there for like a day. Piglet's just been beating the shit out of her. So she's like all cut up and bruised in the face. And she's like, you know, oh, they keep torturing me. And they kind of make it, like I almost forgot that they said that, oh, she was picked up that day, because she paraphrases it like she's been there a lot, like months. They come in and they just beat me up whenever they want. And it's like, did they do that like twice? Like, could you just say, yeah, they beat me up like twice today? She sees in a reflection in a mirror how fucked up her face is, and she's like, grabs a gun and she says, I'm not leaving here till Piglet dies. And then it's really cringy. She's like walking on this like Cabela's outdoor, like perfectly landscaped deck that apparently Winnie the Pooh and Piglet built in their free time with a great fire pit. She gets hit in the head. They pour honey on her face and Piglet eats her face, but you don't see it. You just see the honey get poured on her face, and the actress is just like... I've had honey put in my eyes before, like any of that sugary stuff, it burns the shit out of your eyes. So I think that they got it in her eye, and you could tell she was like, but she was trying to play it straight. So she gets her face eaten. That's that kill. The next one is a machete through the mouth. Oh yeah, Piglet dies. He gets hit in the face with a sledgehammer. God, these deaths are just so boring. The machete in the mouth one is whenever I was sitting in the movie and I was like, why are these animals walking around with weapons? Like why aren't they more feral, I guess? The whole point of the movie was, oh, they're supposed to be more animalistic, but they're walking around with clothes. It just doesn't make any sense. Earlier, we met like for, I think it was a 30-second scene. You see one like mechanic guy. He shows up with his 4 like extremely woke rednecks who are just driving around this 100-acre wood, which is supposed to be like really haunted or, you know, evil. And they're just like, they're talking to Winnie the Pooh like, dude, leave this girl alone. And it's very funny. So Winnie the Pooh swipes away at one of their faces and like cuts one of their faces in half. The other guy gets his arm cut off, and I'm pretty sure he bleeds out. The other dude has or gets his head ripped off, and then one of them, it is when you find out the awesome ability that Winnie the Pooh can control bees, and he sends a horde of bees out to kill a person. A horde of bees. I think there should have been more explanation on how he has the control of bees. It's like, yeah, he likes honey, but like, I don't think that just gives you the power to control bees. After that, the other girl gets her head ripped off. The last girl gets her throat slit, and then the movie ends with Christopher Robin running away into the woods, literally, and then the movie just ends. Those are your deaths. It boggles my mind. It was the least fun I've ever sat in a movie theater and like watched watch a horror film where it's just like a slasher, a little shitty gore fest. It was the most boring. It was so boring. It was so boring. I want to see just some crazy shit, please. And it never comes. It never comes. Ever. It's the worst. You never directly see any death ever. It's always a cut, and it's like kind of just finished. It's the biggest case of blue balls ever. I mean, you know, and there's just like other things too, like the tension in the movie. A great example, like let's look at a good slasher film, is like the first Friday the 13th. It's from the perspective of Jason looking in on people, or Jason's mom. Fuck off, horror fans. They're sitting there and, you know, it's whatever, and you know that something's lingering, and it builds this thing of, you know, somebody walking around, and I hope everything's okay. In this one, it's let's show the monsters immediately and let's have them walk at a snail's pace while somebody screams, no, please, why are you doing this? For a full minute. People staring at things for a really long time. It's just like ways for them to pad out this runtime where they can. And it could not be more boring. Instead of just throwing in more kills, they're just like, let's have 70 shots of this fat fuck Winnie the Pooh walking up and doing this. And then walk away. I'm not even joking. That at least has to happen at least 12 times. Like, realistically, I would say 12 times. And then plenty of times where Winnie the Pooh's just kind of looking there and he's kind of looking down and they want to make sure that you see that his ears can twitch. And he sits there and he just looks up. That happens at probably like 8 times. So if you think about those shots together, that's 20 shots in the film. That's 20 times something happens. Also, just to say the tension as well, they can't even do a jump scare right, because every time there's going to be a jump scare, you already know, because the music is mixed so loud that you can hear the fade out to where it goes silent for 1 second before something jumps out every time. Every time. So if you hear the music start to slowly fade out, you know something's gonna happen. Like, after a while, you're like, oh, here comes the scare. Like, it's a giant neon sign being like, something's behind him, and that's every scare as well. I hate that I gave money to it. I hate that I wish I would have snuck in. When seeing these weird controversial movies, I'm gonna start sneaking into them, dude. All right, that way I can be like, I didn't pay for it though. I snuck in. I'm a fucking rebel like that. Every score, first off, it emotionally didn't make sense. When they free Christopher Robin, who's all gashed up, you know, they're scared. I mean, Winnie the Pooh and these creatures are still walking around. While they're shackling him, they play like whimsical Harry Potter music. So it's like them sitting there and they're like, hurry, go. And he's sitting there, he's like, ugh. Are you okay? Just leave me. I need to go. You save yourself. What kind of emotion are you trying to have me have as a viewer here? Like, am I supposed to be happy? Did we just win a fucking Quidditch match? Like, you need to have silent, just a little bit of music to keep the tension high, to feel like there's still a threat coming. You're rushing, you're rushing, trying to get somebody out of these locks, out of these shackles. It isn't like this is like a huge, prolific moment. This is still a means of survival. And it just, so many times in the movie, I was just like, what mood am I supposed to be in? I felt like somebody who has like some kind of bipolar disorder. I felt like I was, the layers of emotions I went through in the period of about an hour and 20 minutes was only something short of psychopathic. I mean, I don't feel like I'm a sane person after this. I feel like fundamentally I've been changed. I don't think I can process emotions the same way now. You know, there's other things too. Like, I mean, you could talk about the set. It's like either go all the way in or just go bare minimum. I mean, with this set, you have the easiest sets you could ever build. Being in the woods, throw some sticks into a pile. It's a den. That's all you have to do. Instead, we get this earnest, scared, stupid tree fort that they live in. There's like 1950s totally polished trailers. Like, how did they pay for that? Was Pooh just like, put it on my debit card and just bought these fucking trailers, these aluminum trailers? I was just perplexed the whole time. There's a perfectly furnished deck with a fire pit. And it's like, am I led to believe that like Winnie the Pooh and these mutant creatures hung out for a summer and just made a really great deck? Or did they hire a contractor? How did they talk to him? It's just these things where you're like, yeah, it might be kind of a cool set piece, but does it make sense? And the answer is no. Bad Rye, whatever the fuck your name is. Bad Prince Philip. I mean, you know, part of these sets too, I mean, when you show up to the 100 Acre Woods, every sign that they put in this film, they definitely forgot to make the signs, and they said, do we have any scrap cardboard or pieces of plywood? And they kind of just took a paint marker and just wrote 100 Acre Woods on a board, and then in kind of in the background of a shot, you can see a Eeyore cardboard gravestone that says Eeyore RIP. It's like, could you not just be like, I mean, I hate that I saw this movie. You know, and the last like big gripe I had, like I said, was just like the characters. I mean, why the fuck would you make this like schlocky parody horror film? You introduce Christopher Robin, but he's not really your protagonist. You introduce all these other characters who are fucking meaningless. They don't go anywhere. I mean, our main character, can't remember her name, don't remember any of their names. I don't think they even said their names. I'm pretty sure I don't think that they said any of their names. Our main character is a girl who is deathly afraid. She's not even deathly afraid. She's just kind of freaked out because a guy snuck into her house and tried undressing her. So she kind of has this like weird, like, yeah, it feels like people are looking at me, but it's not like a phobia or anything, and it doesn't define her character at all. There's really nothing she does in the film to like overcome this. There's nothing that she does to feel like, you know, I'm not afraid anymore. I'm not going to run anymore. She just runs the whole time. So it's just kind of like, I don't know. There's a nerdy girl. She's just kind of nerdy, and she looks like Sam Bankman-Fried's girlfriend. There's like an Instagram girl who takes selfies. And then my favorite cast of characters are the lesbian couple that shows up, and they have two of my favorite parts in the movie, which is one, they show up to the room up in the Airbnb, and there's like, you know, like a bed, like rose petals on the bed, you know, stereotypical stuff, and it's in the shape of a heart. One of the girls is like, when did you do this? Girlfriend's like, yeah, you know, I called up a couple weeks ago and had it done. And she's like, oh. And the other girl's like, what, do you not like it? She's like, I just think we're moving a bit fast. We're moving a bit fast to put rose petals on a bed for a new relationship. I feel like that's the only time in a relationship that feels applicable. You know what feels good? 25 years of marriage and you go to like Hawaii and there's a bed, like a hard thing of roses. Let me tell you something. That's not going to go over well. They're going to be like, who gives a shit? Get that fucking stuff off the bed. I'm tired. I want to take a nap. Only in the delusional phases of a relationship where like the first 3 to 6 months are fun and then it becomes work is when you do the rose stuff, okay? So I just thought that was strange, but they set it up perfectly because maybe 8 minutes later when Winnie the Pooh shows up and he's kind of killing people and Piglet shows up to kill the people, they're trying to shut a door to lock the house even though they've established that they've already been inside. So it's like, I mean, they're in the house already, but they're going to lock the door and they're all scared. And the girl before, who was so bitter, turns to her girlfriend and she says, hey, I love you. And it's like, man, that's awesome. That's awesome character growth in 8 minutes. We have the whole film. To build these characters up. Let's go ahead and just seal that deal right now. I love you. All right, great. I love the roses on the bed. Okay, perfect. I'm glad that was introduced as conflict. I mean, and here's the thing. You know, there is a universe where a Winnie the Pooh horror film could be funny. Big schlocky fun fest. I think that you have to angle it more like a Killer Clowns from Outer Space, like a Cabin in the Woods thing. You have to enjoy and embrace the camp. It doesn't mean you can't have some gruesome, cool stuff. I mean, Killer Clowns from Outer Space has amazing practical effects. It was a great little independent horror film, little B horror film that, I mean, is still, you know, relevant today. I mean, they're making a video game about it. I mean, Cabin in the Woods, every person I've ever heard that sees that movie loves that movie. It's just, it plays off the tropes. It doesn't take itself seriously. It makes fun of the genre of like these horror genres and everything. It just has fun with it. But at the same time, all of the deaths in the movie, all of the horror and everything that comes into it is fun and it's played straight and it's like, it's effective. I think you need to have Winnie the Pooh not look like a hairless giant baby lumberjack walking around the woods with like a cloaked Sith pig. I think you have to like put more hair on him. I think you need to make him look more animalistic. I mean, for the love of God. Literally in the lore to your film, they said, we want to return back to our animalistic instincts and stuff. Why are they wearing full clothes? Those are the freshest pair of Timberlands I've ever seen on anybody ever. Which is funny to say, but practicality of it sucks. It sucks real bad. So you just gotta lean into that, the schlock aspect of it, the camp aspect of it, and have it be bubbly and funny. It's about a kid's book from 100 years ago, and it's a beloved Disney character now. So lean into the campy, bubbly, fun side of it, and make the kills brutal, and make it like, you know, make scenes where it's atmospheric and fucking crazy and tension filled, and it's, you know, it's these scenes where you're like, oh my God, that part was actually pretty gruesome, or that actually scared me, because that's the best part of these campy films, is that you are lowering the defense of your audience all the time with these jokes. You're lowering it, and, you know, it's all happy and fun until you can just smack them over the face with some crazy real shit. I think that that's where this film epically failed. That's the ultimate crime of this movie, is that it just like took itself seriously and it's coming across like a 17-year-old's film project in school. If I had to say my favorite film or my favorite scene in the movie, it was probably when there's a kill and then they look inside their house and on the window in blood it's written, "Get out." And the nerdy girl says, whoever killed her wrote that. That's my favorite part of the movie, is because everybody in the theater laughed pretty hard. It was a very wholesome experience of everybody being like, that was one of the dumbest things I've ever heard in a movie. No shit. You know, and we're going to get a lot more of these films. Like I said, it's already greenlit for a sequel. These are some potential ideas moving forward for the Winnie the Pooh franchise here. I hope Rye and Hugh Grant and King Philip and Queen Elizabeth all take note of these potential ideas. Winnie the Pooh 2, Christopher's Revenge. It's Christopher, and he's kind of just, he wants revenge. Winnie the Pooh 3, In the Hood. This is where we also introduce Tigger. We get him out of the woods and we put him in an urban atmosphere, in the urban jungle. Huh? Winnie the Pooh 4 in space. It's a lot like Jason X, where it's probably like in the future and they like, you know, decrystallize Winnie the Pooh. Maybe he's in a big vat of honey or in a giant honey jar and he wreaks havoc on a spaceship that crashes into Earth. Could be pretty good. Winnie the Pooh 5, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. I thought this one was funny because it's, you know, maybe Winnie the Pooh shrinks campers, a family of campers, and it looks like a big bear this time trying to eat people. And it's also just Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. You have the honey aspect to it. Or it could be, maybe he's the dad. He's Rick Moranis, and it's just his family that he shrinks. So maybe it's not a slasher at all. Maybe it's a goofy family comedy. And then, of course, Winnie the Pooh 6, Back to the Hood. We go back to the hood from the third one. I imagine that one's going to be a big hit. If you feel like this video didn't give you enough of a skin-crawling, revolting feeling, just know that Rye, the director himself, he has plans to make a horror movie about Bambi. This movie and like the Bambi and everything else coming forward is going to mark a public domain series of fucking nightmares coming out in the horror industry. And with how people view movies with sequels and prequels and everything else that Marvel and Star Wars has given us, people are going to go to the theaters. They're going to be like, I remember that thing. And they slap their fucking bellies and they laugh. And they're like, it was Bambi, but Bambi vomits and it's yellow acid and it does that kind of thing. It won't even be that. It'll be Bambi holding a knife. And he goes up and they're all British. Everybody's fucking British because it's the same guy. And he sits there and he's like, oh, what about TMNT, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, or you know, Teletubbies. He's like, I would like to see those people eating things in a dark alley. And it's like, newsflash, Rye, you suck! You suck, Rye! Oh, if I had to put a score to it, 2 out of 10. Just because of the laugh. I give it 1 point because of the laugh we had in the audience with that joke. Not even the joke, just the line in the movie. Not a joke, just a line in the movie that he wrote. That was in the script that Rye wrote. The energy consultant from England who just made $2 million fucking off of a movie. Thanks for watching the video. Don't see that movie. Wait, don't go anywhere! Hey, I have a quick thing I have to tell you real quick. Me and Noel Miller have a new podcast called Stretch and Fade. The first episode is up right now. It's going to be up bi-weekly. It's going to be reoccurring. So if you like hearing this beautiful, beautiful voice, you know, go subscribe to the TMG network so you can stay updated. You know, follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all that jazz. And let me make love to your ears every week. How's that sound? All right? Go click it. Also, we're going to leave a little thing. You can click it right here. You need to click it. Thank you.